Alright, so I just got back from my grandpa's house, back in my place now, and immediately I got to record my thoughts following the opening game. Mexico, Sudáfrica, Estadio Azteca. And let me just preface by saying I'm not an expert in the sport of soccer, in the sport of football. I'm not an expert by any means. I've only been following this sport very casually since 2010. That was my first World Cup experience. 2010, ironically, Mexico, South Africa, opening game. That's what got me into the whole sport, man. And that's what started it all. And I've come full circle, fast forward 16 years later, Estadio Azteca, second leg, if you will, of Mexico, South Africa. And I gotta say, this has to go down as probably top 5, top 10 worst World Cup opening games of all time. Like I don't think that that's far off or far fetched to even say that. That was a terrible game. Absolutely horrific. Me and my grandpa were just sitting on that couch looking at each other like, bro, what the hell are we watching? You know, my grandpa, by the way, he used to be a soccer player. He could have went pro, but then fucked up his knee. You know, that typical story we all have. It's usually some Mexican's tío, but in my case, it's my grandpa. He's from Mexico City too. He's a Chilango. He's from Mexico City, and so he got to see Mexico at their absolute peak, man. You know, with Hugo and Jared Borghetti and Pavel Pardo, El Matador, and so many great players. I can't even think right now. But we were just watching the game in disbelief, man, at how terrible. You know, I listen. I understand that, you know, South Africa, they were playing very, very defensively. They had like fucking 7 players in front of the goalkeeper. They had no interest in really attacking at all. You know, they had some of their fast players make runs because of our slow ass defense, but they didn't do nothing. They were never a real threat in the game at all, really. You know, the few threatening moments they had came at the cost of our mistakes that we had. But it was never off of, you know, it was never off the ball danger from South Africa, like plays that they created to disrupt us in any way, you know. And then I understand that they played defensively, they played negatively, but like they got 2 players ejected from the fucking game via red cards. And let me just say right now, that referee, I don't know the fellow's name. I don't remember. I'm sure they showed his name on screen like they always do. I don't know who this referee is, man. One of the worst referees ever, too. Like, this game was just bad on all levels. Like, the players were bad, the tactics were bad, the teams played bad, the referee was bad. Like, I don't know what the hell went wrong. Everything went wrong. I just answered my own question. I just asked a question to myself and I answered it myself. Like, bro, everything went wrong. This referee was just handing out cards like Oprah Winfrey handing out cars on a taping of one of her shows back in the day. You get a card. You get a card. Everybody gets a card. Like, you know, Cesar Montes is a clumsy motherfucker, and that was a dumbass challenge he made in extra time. Come on, when we're up 2-0, he makes a challenge like that. But bro, I'm telling you right now, that was not a red card, bro. That was not a red card. That challenge, it didn't result in the player getting injured or seriously hurt, or it didn't prevent a goal. You know, the player was making a run towards the box, but he wasn't in the box. Like, it was not a red. That's like the softest red card I've ever seen, bro. That was not a red card. A yellow, absolutely. I'm not even gonna look at you twice. I'm not even gonna do a double take. A yellow, sure. But a red card, bro? A red off of that challenge? Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if the ref felt bad for ejecting 2 South African players, so he was like, fuck it. I'm gonna try to make this game a little tighter and make it more interesting with this boring ass game. So I'm gonna give this fool a red card. Well, thanks a lot, asshole. Now he's gonna be out in our next game against against South Korea, excuse me. I never wanna see Mexico play South Africa ever again in my lifetime. Certainly not in an opening game of a World Cup, and even in a friend. I never wanna see these 2 teams play again. Fucking awful game. But thanks to this referee, we're missing one of our key defenders. in probably the hard, no, not probably, the hardest game of this group we have, which is against South Korea. And instead, now I'm pretty sure El Vasco is gonna slot Edson Alvarez now at CB. And I gotta be honest with you, I think Edson Alvarez is more of a liability than Montes is as a center back, because that's not Edson's position. He doesn't play center back. That dude's a CDM. Always been a natural CDM. I know he's played center back in the past, but he's always been a natural CDM. And he's more of a liability than Montes is at fucking center back, dog. You know, he had this reckless ass challenge against Australia. And one of our last friendlies that we had leading up to the World Cup, it was the second to last. So obviously, Serbia was the last team that we played. Both ugly games, mind you. Both were ugly games. But, you know, in the game with Australia, bro, Edson literally yanked the dude. He yanked the motherfucker from the back of the neck. In the box, I believe. It was like in the box. And the referee let it slide. That should have been a penalty, real talk. You know, or best case scenario, a really, really close free kick for the Australian player, because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that was like in the box, dude, or near the box. Like, he literally yanked the motherfucker by the neck, by the back of the neck, and dropped him onto the pitch. Like, bro, Edson Alvarez is more of a liability than Cesar Montes is as a center back. So I'm just, bro, this game took the wind out of my sails. I was super hyped. I was so excited. I had high hopes for Mexico in this World Cup. I'm not writing them off now, but I gotta tell you, this game gave me zero enthusiasm, bro. This game gave me zero. I don't give a fuck if they won 2-0, and that's what I predicted, by the way. So I'm already, I'm already getting some results right. I'm predicting this one 2-0. I'm predicting Korea, Chechnya to be a draw. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw, but if gun to my head, I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 stalemate later on today, Korea and Czech Republic. That game's going to go down tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Oh, shit. Actually, that game might be going down right now. Hold up. Okay, yeah, nah, that game does come on 6:30, 7 p.m. I say 6:30 and then 7 because 6:30 usually they do their little, analysis, pre-game analysis and stuff, commentaries, and then the game usually kicks off about 30 minutes later. So, yeah, I was right. It comes on about 7 p.m., but Pacific time. Yeah, that's gonna be a stalemate. I hope that game is better than this one, because Mexico South Africa was a terrible game, bro. And I'm a Mexico fan, but I will say objectively that was a poor performance from both Mexico and South Africa. How the hell are you playing a game against a team that has that are down 2 players, 11 versus 9? And y'all ain't gonna attack. You're still gonna sit back. You're still gonna play methodically. You're still gonna back pass and try to create openings that aren't even there. Like, bro, y'all were supposed to shoot long balls. Lob that shit. You don't need, when you're playing against 9 players, bro. I mean, I understand. I don't know. I guess El Vasco's scared because they're fast. They're Africans. They're black. They're fast. So let's not take any chances. Like, come on, bro. Speaking of which, I want to say, speaking of which, Julian Quinones, bro, that motherfucker should be our 9. I'm sorry. I love Raul Jimenez with all my heart, and his story truly is inspiring. But, bro, I'm telling you right now, Julian Quinones should be our 9. He should be the striker. And Raul Jimenez should be like a super duper sub. I understand keeping him on the pitch. He's like an expert at penalties. He's a good holding striker, good player. But like, I'm telling you, bro, Quinones would be wrecking this World Cup for Mexico, bro. If he, in a good way, he'd be wrecking it if he was our striker, if he was up front. He scored a golazo in the first half. Of course, Raul Jimenez would score the header in the second. This is exactly how I thought the game was going to go, at least as far as the goals were concerned. I knew Julian was going to score this game. I knew it. I wish I would have said it on recording. I didn't. I don't think I did. But I've been saying this. I've been saying it. Watch, Julian Quinones is going to open up scoring for Mexico. Or no, I didn't say that. I'm lying. I didn't say that, but I said Julian Quiñones is gonna score against South Africa. I didn't say he was gonna open up scoring, but I said he was gonna score. I didn't know if he was gonna score first or if Raul was gonna score first, but I knew that fucker was gonna score. I knew it, and the reason I knew it is because I knew the South Africans were gonna be concentrated on Raul Jimenez and Brian Gutierrez, which they were. Brian had an awful game, by the way. That boy played nervous. I was about to call him a little boy. That fool played nervous as hell. He needs to chill out. He needs to chill out. He was a lot better, a lot more composed in the second half. But in the first half, that vato was nervous as hell. I don't know what was wrong with that boy. I mean, I get it. I get it. You know, you can't really fault him. He's still a kid. He's a youngster, man. And playing in that kind of, it's like, I don't know, man. I can't even think of a good example, but that's a big, debut right there for the national team at in a World Cup in the home stadium in front of all those people, 80,000 plus. And I mean, the pageantry, everything that went into it. He had a bad game though. Overall, I know he did better in the second half, but that first half was trash. It was gutter trash. And hopefully he picks up the pace and gets better in these coming games, because we're really going to need his dynamic speed and play, He's one of the few creative weapons that we have right now, alongside Gilberto Mora, who pretty much, Brian Gutierrez pretty much took Gilberto Mora's spot, which is crazy. That's a very competitive position right now, that midfielder position. Alvaro Fidalgo also didn't have a very good game. There was a moment, I don't remember if it was in the first or second half, where he was in the box with the South Africans, and instead of shooting it, he tried to get cute and do a little short pass to somebody in the box, and one of the African defenders booted that shit out. He should have shot for a goal. And then Brian, also with a whiff. I mean, this was a terrible game, man. This was a terrible game. I sincerely hope that this was just merely opening game of the World Cup nerves, and in the next game, the players are going to settle down a lot more, and that nervousness from the first game of the World Cup, I get it, over 1 billion plus people projected to be watching that opening match, but hopefully in the next coming games, man, Mexico really calms the fuck down and just settles in, relaxes, and starts playing footy, man, the way they should. But I kind of don't believe that, because when I look at their last two friendlies against, Australia and Serbia, respectfully, like they played very ugly in those games as well. They weren't pretty. And, I mean, if Mexico gets results playing like this, I mean, I guess win-win. I guess it doesn't matter as long as they're getting results. But I kind of disagree with that notion as well, because I want to see my team play good. Just because they win, I know win by any means necessary. I don't want to see trash-ass play, bro. I'm sorry. I don't want to see trash-ass play. Do I want to see Mexico win? Absolutely. But they're not going to win the fucking World Cup, bro. They're not going to win the World Cup. So at least the games that y'all play, I want to see you play fucking good. That's all I'm asking for. And in my last recording, I predicted the group stages. I didn't even go into the knockouts. I'm just gonna say it now here. I was originally predicting Mexico to make it to the quarterfinals. I still kind of do. I think that's best case scenario for Mexico, is to make the quarterfinals. But after what I just watched against South Africa, bro, I am hard pressed to believe that they could beat England in the round of 16, which is the opponent a lot of odds makers are betting on and predicting Mexico will meet, assuming that they even win their group. If Mexico wins their group, they're going to play England in the round of 16, I believe. And I find it very, very difficult to believe that they're going to beat England, dog. I know everybody keeps saying, oh, it's Estadio Azteca. They'll play England in Estadio Azteca. In England, they can't survive that heat and that. Man, after seeing the way Mexico played South Africa, bro, I don't even think these Mexican players could survive the elements, bro. They played like absolute trash, man. And South Africa didn't do any better. They didn't fare any better. Like, honestly, for the South African fans being so cocky, and I actually like that. I don't even like to use the word cocky, but for them to be as enthusiastic as they were, hyping up their team and saying they were gonna win and shock the world, Bafana, Bafana, this and that. Like, bro, y'all should be ashamed of your team and how y'all played. Real talk. I mean, I like their bravado because they made it more interesting, more entertaining, more fun. And they made the victory all the more rewarding. But to be honest, because the game was so bad, this isn't a rewarding victory. I feel like this was a loss. You know, I'm sorry. I maybe it sounds like I'm exaggerating. Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. If anybody at all is listening to this, comment in the comment section. Am I overreacting? Because like this 2-0 victory feels like a loss to me. Even though Mexico won 2-0, it feels like a fucking loss. Because that's how bad they played. That's how bad the game was. It was boring. Like I was all in my phone. Like, man, what am I watching, bro? Like all this, the opening ceremony was. I mean, they had a lot of pageantry. I thought the opening ceremony was actually kind of weak, minus the Mana performance. You know, again, I don't. I don't know if I'm just being negative from the game though. I don't know if the game just left a sour taste in my mouth, but I don't know, man. This overall, like, this game kind of took the wind out of my sails. Like, I'm not even that excited anymore for the remainder of the group stage. If we even win this group, I don't know if I want to take back my prediction that Mexico's going to win this group. I originally predicted in my last transmission, I predicted Mexico to beat South Africa 2-0. So I got a green check mark right there. I predicted Mexico to beat South Korea 2-1 or possibly 1-0. Gun to my head, I'm gonna say 2-1. We'll see if I get that right. I'm actually, I kind of low key want to take back that prediction, bro. And actually, I don't know, man. It will not surprise me if South Korea beats Mexico after watching that terrible performance. But I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm not gonna be a little bitch. I'm gonna stick to my guns and I'm gonna say Mexico's gonna beat Korea 2-1. And then they're going to either draw or get beat by the Czech Republic. And gun to my head, I'm gonna say Mexico draws Czech Republic in another boring fucking hack fest 1-1 or 0-0, you know, a result. A gun to my head, I'm gonna say fucking 1-1. 1-1, one goal apiece for Czech Republic and Mexico. But honestly, after that opening game with South Africa, I'm not excited anymore. Like, my excitement has been kind of deflated, bro. And then I'm also not very confident anymore either. Like, if Mexico could get a result in the knockout games, you know. I think the odds makers and pundits alike are saying that, you know, should Mexico win this group, which I guess is what I'm predicting I am, they're going to play Scotland, I believe, in the round of 32. Which, that'll be a banger right there. That'll be a very classic, you know, alcoholic fans in the crowd match. You know, the Scottish and the Mexicans. I actually told my wife that if that game does happen, we're going to go to a pub to watch that game. Preferably like an Irish or Scottish pub. I don't know if there's any Scottish pubs in Los Angeles, but I know there's a lot of Irish ones. And so maybe we'll probably do that. I don't know. We'll see. Go into enemy territory with our Mexico jerseys and watch the game. Hopefully I don't get my ass whooped by some fucking Scottish dude that looks like Drew McIntyre. But I'm not excited and I lost confidence, bro, in this team. Maybe I'm spazzing out. Maybe I'm spazzing, or like the kids today say, maybe I'm crashing out, but I don't know. This game just deflated me, bro. Comment below what you guys think, if anybody at all is listening to this. All three of you, I appreciate you. But those are my quick thoughts, man, on this. Not quick thought. We're going into the 20-minute mark. I don't know if you could call these quick thoughts, but híjole, that was a dreadful game, man. Here's to Korea and the Czech Republic coming up in a couple hours. Hopefully that's a more eventful game than this one. Jesus Christ. Hopefully there's not, you know, a bunch of fucking red cards too. They're probably gonna get a way better referee than we did. But and then here's to the next games with Mexico, man. Hopefully the team settles down and finds some kind of groove to get into, man. If I'm the coach, bro, in the next game, I'm putting Quiñones up top. as the 9, and I really don't want to play El Piojo Alvarado. I didn't even touch on this fucking guy. Bro, El Piojo Alvarado is just as bad as Charlie Rodriguez, bro. I know he assisted that Raul Jimenez header. I know. But like, bro, okay, he's not as bad. He's not as useless as Charlie, but he's still very bad, and he really should not be. We shouldn't even be playing with wingers. We don't have any good ones. We have a stacked midfield that could drift wide. I don't understand. I mean, man, I know that this isn't FIFA, this isn't EAFC. Coaches are gonna be traditional and keep it simple, but like, come on, bro. When you have dynamic guys, dynamic players in the midfield like Guti and Gilberto Mora, bro, these two guys could drift wide, bro, and deliver crosses. You had Israel Reyes delivering some pretty solid crosses, and then he ended the narrative that he doesn't attack. He completely shut that shit down today. That's one positive. That's one positive that I will give this game. Israel Reyes had a great performance, and he shot down the whole narrative of, oh, well El Vasco puts in Jorge Sanchez because Jorge Sanchez actually attacks and defends. Israel Reyes just stays in the back and he just gatekeeps the back. He doesn't attack. Well, there you go. He shut that whole narrative down today because Israel Reyes was moving up, delivering some solid crosses, better crosses than El Piojo. I don't give a fuck if Piojo scored an assist today off of that Raul header. I don't care. Israel Reyes was doing way more for the most part until Piojo got that lucky cross in. It was a good cross. I'm just being negative, man. I'm just being negative. That game left a sour taste in my mouth. Anyway, I'm gonna end this here. Once again, hopefully, we do better in the next one, guys. We'll see what happens.